Greetings, my name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, licensed presenters, the Core New Core, my patrons, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or a student. So, I just have one title today, and because tomorrow is Thanksgiving, the giving of my thanks here on this broadcast, the title is Grateful for You. Grateful for You. And this split into two different expressions of gratitude, one that I wrote out in my notes, and one that appears as acknowledgments in my book. And I'm grateful to you for all the memories that we share. Now maybe we don't share any, and I'm long since gone to have ever had a chance to share them live and in person. But here we are, making memories out of living time frames, perhaps. I'm grateful for the difference that you have made and make in my life. Whether it's the unknown person from future generations, or someone that stops by that actually has tales to tell about me personally. And much more specifically, and much more directly, I'm grateful for my parents. Charles T. and Elaine F. Miller. Inextricably couldn't take them apart from one another as to what it was like to be so blessed to have them as my parents. Anything good that's come out of my life, I'm grateful to them for, because it's obviously because of them. And anything not good in my life or of me is purely my own doing. Definitely grateful to my parents. And because of my parents, an exposure, a boarding school exposure to Jesuits, a religious order in the Catholic Church that was running schools at the time to promote the faith, I guess you would say. Anyway, in my life, I'm so grateful for the multitude of influences from the Jesuit community that I spent time with from 66 to 70. I'm grateful for my friends that I still have to this day. From then, and for my loves, and for my students, and for my solitude and my peace and my time. The time I'm grateful for is the last 1,245 days. On weekdays I've been able to make this broadcast, trying to share with you the knowledge that I've got as best I can while I can, to fulfill my duty of sharing my joy. A human to humanity. I'm grateful for the sense of the divine moving through me. And depending upon what culture, you can name whatever deity you might consider, but the fact that there is something to life. And I'm grateful for that because I think that gives anyone, all of us, direction in trying to find a harmonious relationship with that which moves through us. Okay, I have to, And being grateful for life, to me that's about movement when it comes to Pilates. And so a return to life, part of Joe's title of his book, Return to Life through Contrology. The return to life part, life is movement in that regard, or how I look at that. And so when you do Pilates, it's not only about movement, but it's moving in reflection of or in attempt to resonate with the reality that we're trying to survive in. So, in the year 2000, the elements of Pilates and the Michael Miller view. And I ended up coming to here because in my notes just have an ending that says, I encourage you to listen to and think for yourself. Listen to and think for yourself. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. In the acknowledgments of my book, if I may share that with you, many have influenced my thinking, but no one as much as my father, who inspired me to think for, and my mother, who encouraged me to listen to myself. And that's where is to you. I encourage you to listen to and think for yourself. There's 4 paragraphs. The second paragraph is to my true love for all the joy. And then to you, I would say this applies to all my fellow enthusiasts. You all know who you are and have my deep appreciation, my deep gratitude. Talking about here, Thanksgiving, I'm trying to give thanks for all your influence throughout my being. I think the mere act of observing places a focus on and a definition to the situation. And then the last paragraph is to a guy named, it's disingenuous to call him a guy, to the author, Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor, and he wrote Man's Search for Meaning. Something I got out of that exposure to the Jesuits, for teaching me. So Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, I'm grateful for that, for teaching me early on, meaning when I was in high school, that the one true freedom in life is choosing your attitude. And we do our best in our human nature to avoid that fact by having all kinds of excuses for the attitude, or explanations, if you will, for the attitude that we're taking, as though the explanation warrants the attitude, when really the attitude is whimsical, no matter what your circumstance is, that's beyond your control and choice. The choice of your attitude is an inescapable freedom that you choose. No matter how you choose it, it's your choice in how you present your attitude. So okay? So I'm grateful for you. Life may not live forever, but the impact of gratitude and its reverberation can, I think, and does. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Connect the dots. Recognize what a challenge it is to think for and to listen to yourself. And because this is about Pilates, Pilates is this delicious opportunity in time to do just that, to listen to yourself, to listen to your own sensation, and to apply your concentration to the purpose of the movement, and in so doing, gaining the mobility that comes from that. And because the original mat has pattern to it that acknowledges ideal characteristics in the world that we live in, progressive patterns of movement, say being one thing, right? Flexion, extension. This plane first. Alan Menendez. Midline on the plumb line. 6 words, but a complete orientation of the human being in space. Plumb line is about gravity, and midline is the plane that divides us right in two, this way, which is the plane that we move through to get there first, to procreate and eat to survive. Maybe to eat and procreate, I don't know how you see that happening, but we're driven as a species to do that. We're driven as a species. All right, so that ties into that part about feeling the divine moving through us. It's like we're driven as a species. And the evolution of what we are and how we are is about moving through space to get there first. And core new tension is the way you engage yourself to move through space. It's the way the human body does it. Just saying, from the MMP POV, which means the Michael Miller Pilates, brand of Pilates, one point of view out of yours, mine, and everyone else's. from that point of view, it's just a fact of the matter that core nu tension is the way the body engages itself to move through space. And in so doing, strives to achieve that ideal tension, meaning oppositional rotation between axes, because of its dynamicism. I say that right? Dynamics. So, I got a great review yesterday on my Facebook broadcast. So we'll go back a date from this date and see what a student slash fan slash customer slash patron had to say. We only had to say one word, but it came from somewhere. Okay, so connect the dots. Evaluate points of view. And don't be limited by wanting to ignore MMP as a POV. Don't miss CT all by itself, regardless how you feel about whatever else. Recognize the biomechanics. Rotation here, and here. Knees, ankles, metatarsals. The body engages in oppositional rotation between axes to orchestrate tension that engages musculature as efficiently as possible to make it as light as possible to move through space. And CT is recognizing how the biology accomplishes the physics. No matter what else. You don't have to know anything about Pilates or yoga or dance or martial arts or anything to care about how you distribute the load of your body to make it lighter, to make it easier to move through space. And core nu tension is the target. And the sooner someone knows that assuming core nu tension makes you more lined up in space and makes a more distributed engagement of musculature to do it, core nu as a persona seeking recognition, you know, the trademark, and that it points to oppositional rotation between axes. Core nu has been very patient, I guess I would say, in how much attention I focus on the number 2 thing, the MMP point of view of Pilates, when really the number 1 thing, core nu tension, is a recognition of biomechanics, the way the body engages itself to move through space. Absorb that knowledge, and hopefully it will help you listen to and think for yourself. We're about it. Evaluate points of view, right? And then add 2 and 2. Direct your thinking. Geist.